Morning, Mike and Arlen, our Philippine journey. Why do men fail? Now, we could apply this to expats, we could apply it to life in general, but why do men seem to fail? Let's talk about that.
I never got it, why'd you have to go? I guess this world's too slow for you. I think there's beauty in the gray, the cold, but you just want the gold. And there's no way I can beat it, cause I got no chance, no chance when it comes to her. She got the glitter and the fame, and I just wasn't enough.
As always, thanks for coming by. And in addition to that, you know what? Please consider subscribing and hitting that thumbs up. That thumbs up really helps us get this video out. Why do men fail? You know what? We say we can apply this to expats because certainly we can, and that's where we see it because of the environment that we're in. But men fail for a couple of really simple reasons. And we're going to go into it. And then we want to hear your comments. We want you to let us know why you think men fail or why maybe you failed and what you've done to change it. Let's go through it. I think one of the reasons, and that, you know what, there are a lot of reasons. Obviously, we can't go into all of them. But we can go through some of the simplest ones, some of the ones that you can actually change. I think, and I say I because Arlen's not a man, all right, but I think men fail, or one of the prominent reasons that men fail is simply based on the fact that we've become inherently lazy. Many of you were raised like me, and some of you were raised much younger than me. And what I mean by that is, you know, what that's saying it backwards. Even at my age, I know that life was much different when I was a young man. All the things available were different. If you're younger than me, well, you didn't even see that change. You were raised when things were different. The availability of everything almost everywhere leads to being lazy. And what I mean by that is, you know what? I'm hungry. I'm going to hop in the car. I'm going to zip down the street. I'm going to go to McDonald's or wherever. Okay. Oh, you know what? I live in the big city. I'm going to go down to the street, take a couple short steps, and there's a restaurant. Either way, things became easier. We take things for granted. Well, when you are moving to a foreign country, I don't care what your income level is. It just doesn't matter. Life is not the same. And you have to adapt. You have to change. And we see men that just can't do it. They just will not do it. They're unhappy because even though they can afford the best of whatever is around, it's not what they're used to. And then there are those that think they want one thing but aren't happy. So, for instance, I have people, we have subscribers that live in the province full time, and that's what they want, this simple life. But this simple life in the province is not as fulfilling as they thought it was going to be. In other words, they end up in a less than exciting lifestyle that they had intended to have. And don't get me wrong, there are a lot of people that are very happy with that choice and very happy with the life that they live. But some people aren't. And so they fail. They just simply fail. It's a matter of convenience. We live in many of us Westerners are raised in a disposable world. You know, everything is disposable, from soda bottles to soda cans to trash to the packaging. Everything is just disposable. You know, it's one-time use type stuff. You know, in our house, for instance, we get takeout all the time, and it comes in containers. And Arlene saves these stupid containers. Now, when we moved here to the Philippines, we brought all of our higher end containers. Not even Tupperware, but higher end than that. And yet Arlen still saves these, but they're disposable. They don't last. They're thin, they crack, they're impossible to wash sometimes. It's incredible. We live in a disposable society. One use. That's it. Single time use. Men fail because they don't plan. That's the biggest reason we think we see. They don't plan. You know what? Life didn't turn out the way that they intended. Could have been a bad marriage, a bad relationship, a job market, everything that goes along with it. Okay? And now they're on a limited budget. And so they've selected and said, hey, I'm going to the Philippines because I can live better there on my budget. But they didn't plan. And because they didn't plan, they're stuck. They're stuck not here, okay? But they're stuck in living within a budget that still doesn't make them happy. But they thought that this was exactly what they wanted, that it was going to solve all of their problems. It didn't, and it doesn't, and it won't. You've got to plan ahead. One of the other reasons that we see, and the one piece of advice that we will give you, is simple. Don't do this without some planning and some backup. Obviously, don't just decide one day, next year I'm going to plan, and don't let your plan be foolish. Okay, I'm going to go to the Philippines and I'm going to live there on a limited budget when I retire in 2 years. And so you save a little bit of money, and then the next year you start selling everything you have, liquidating, getting everything put together, and then you move. But you never came here to begin with. You have no idea what it's like to land at one of the worst airports in the world, to get in a cab that are experts at ripping you off. You have no idea what it's like to pay the skin tax of a foreigner for rent. You don't know where you are really going to want to live. You're basing where you live, initially at least, on budget. You didn't plan, and part of planning is coming here and checking it out. We always tell people, you know what? You need to come here for 3 weeks. 3 weeks. Before you come here, you need to look at 3 destinations that you think you would like to live. And you need to spend a week at each one of those locations. I'm not going to change my opinion on that. I really and truly am not. And the more often that you can come here and check everything out, the better off you are. Now, if you're a little bit more adventurous, guys are like, I'm moving and I'm going to spend 6 months traveling around trying to figure out where I want to finally end up. It's funner to do it that way, but it can be tiring and it can be exhausting. And during that travel time, your sphere of interaction with others is more limited because you're not going to make friends in, 2 weeks. All right? Plan. Be thorough. All right? Really and truly do it the way, even, you know what? I had lunch yesterday with a fellow blogger who happened to be visiting here in town. He contacted me and said, "Hey, I'm going to be in town for 2 days. Do you want to have lunch?" I said, "Great." And we talked about part of this, and he agreed. You've got to plan. You've got to plan in advance, and you've got to put in the effort. Don't be lazy. It's not a disposable world. So put together your whole set of ideas and then research them just as if you were starting a business. If you were starting a business, you would research A, B, C, D, E. All right? You look all the information you can find. You need to do that before you come to the Philippines. Okay? Finally, and the last thing I would say is if you're watching this, you're researching, you're getting information. Don't believe a word of it. Don't believe a word of any YouTube's advice. Their circumstances, the channel's owners' circumstances, their lifestyle, what's important to them, what they like and don't like, how they live, could be radically different from what you find acceptable. And so, unless you come and experience it yourself, you're relying on somebody you don't know, more than likely have never met, corresponded with minimally at best. It's a recipe for disaster. Hey, please subscribe, hit that thumbs up, and we hope you have a great day.